Let's build a business based on H to H, not B2B, but human-to-human sales and marketing automation. A human approach is the only one that sells.
Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our next show, H2H Sales Automation Podcast is here. And we had this clever idea with Russell to record a little bit of insights of our visit in London in February. The weather looks nice. It's actually a bit of rain, but it's pretty mild, isn't it, Russell? Well, thank you very much, Russell, for joining the conversation. Russell, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Russell Dalgleish. I'm a serial Scottish entrepreneur. I live just outside Edinburgh, but my working life has primarily been based out of London, and that's where we are today. We're in one of the magnificent Fora facilities at Old Street in Shoreditch. And if you're involved in startups or in the creative sector, Shoreditch is the place to be in London. We've done a couple of events. We did one event with Scottish Business Network where we did a go-to-market session. And it was really interesting. What came out of that was this battle that we're witnessing within the business community between the advantages and the disadvantages of AI and the need to start reintroducing the human into the process. Just throwing 10,000 emails at a wall isn't the way to build relationships with clients. And then last night, I had the privilege to attend my first PB Link event with the Polish community in London. And it's strange. You go to these events and you think, well, I don't know Poland that well. I won't know anyone. And actually, the first chap I spoke to had recently worked for Made Brave in Glasgow.
World is so small, isn't it? And I think this is interesting how businesses are developing their sales strategy, because it's all about sales, isn't it? We talk about business development. Some of the businesses are calling the business development or customer success, or the other word is maybe bringing the growth, the business. And the fundamentals are pretty much the same. People buy from people, but many organizations, many businesses, they are not act as a people first business. My massive lesson out of interesting conversation out of your network is the ability to have immediate feedback. You know, that nuances when you ask someone a question about what you are working on and someone is actually don't get it in the first place. You immediately validating the way that you speak about something. Maybe this is something that requires a little bit of polishing, isn't it? And in the online world, it's nearly impossible to get that feedback because it's basically AI-generated answer or someone asking you for a call that you don't have a time to fit in your agenda. Fascinating, isn't it?
So what we did at Scottish Business Network at our event was that we set up a boardroom. We got 10 senior execs, investors, founders, successful entrepreneurs together. And what I asked Bart to do was to share his go-to-market strategy. And these are private sessions, and what we're seeking for is honest feedback as to the plan. And they're incredibly valuable sessions because it allows you to reassess how your proposition actually reflects with the market demand. And we got some amazing insight. You took notes after notes from the whole thing. And I think that was really interesting. But there's something more important for me, which is about, I think we've got to remember why we're in business and the purpose of a business. You know, we think about shareholder value, we think about staff, we think about customers. In my mind, the purpose of a business is to help your customers to create value in their business. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help others to create value. And if you do that, rather than trying to sell someone something, you develop long-term relationships. And long-term relationships are the key to business because it gives you steady cash flow, it gives you steady opportunity. And what it also does is with trust comes opportunity. whereby a client who engages you for one thing, asks you to help with something else, asks you to help with something else. Then they make a referral and introduce you to someone they know, and it replicates and moves. And I fear that some of the AI automation tools we're using, they're so inexpensive, they're so easy to set up. They're just not achieving that. They're just throwing messages out. And unless those messages correctly reflect your brand, you're at risk of causing damage to your company. And we've spoken over the last month to several companies, and they're more worried this year about achieving sales forecasts than ever before. Because this is an unknown market, we're seeing these AIs, we're seeing new competition, we're seeing customer demands changing, customers wanting something different. So it's so important to utilize those connections that you have and actually make sure you're building relationships with them rather than chasing after new business from people you don't know in new markets offering new services.
I think this is a common Pareto rule as far as my education background is right. 80% of the business, 80% of the business comes from 20% of the customers, and quite often we are getting to the stage that we're chasing wrong tail. We going to that 80% that doesn't make any sense. Let's focus on this 20% people who are creating value for us, and referrals and more business will come quite naturally. But this is all about data, isn't it? Understanding where is this 20% who's creating 80% value, isn't it?
It is. There's an interesting statistic we were looking at, which is if you look at your 10 last business wins, you'll be quite surprised to discover that the majority of them will be first or second connections to your managing director.
Yep.
So we are all connected. So I think when it comes to data, we have to take an audit approach. And I know it's one thing Automate now does, which is to come into a company and do what we call a quick audit, to actually look at all the data sources and how that data is actually being utilized to deliver what the business wants to win these new clients. Because it's no longer just in one place. The data is in WhatsApp messages, it's in email, it's perhaps in LinkedIn, it's in all these different data sources. And you have to use everything sensibly. So someone told me, it's easy, Russell, I just rip all my contacts out of LinkedIn and I can email them all. And I'm going, well, a couple of things. One, that could well be a governance issue for you in the way you're using that data, unless you have permission. But secondly, if I send someone a LinkedIn message and they're a LinkedIn connection, it makes logical sense. They see my picture on the message and they understand the conversation. If I send them an email, it almost feels cold because they're going, well, I haven't had an email from that email address before. And that utilization and the sophistication of data is a real game changer.
100%. This is simplicity. Looking what is working, what is not working, and just doing it, just pressing that button and reach out to your customers. One of key lessons out of all face-to-face conversations we all have is, yes, face-to-face, people are getting more into interactions, but the lack of ability to build that relationship. What we are seeing on the market is new generations are very easy. Is a TikTok type of generation, very quick, fast content. They don't have a skills and ability to build that in-depth relationship. And this is what we are seeing in new generation of sales people who are coming to the job. They have loads of different tools, but what is still working best is a traditional call, isn't it? Just making that call, right call, and do not sell, just build that relationship. And I think this is the one piece that is massively missing to achieve your quota, isn't it?
I think as human beings, we understand how to engage with each other, how to have a relationship. We also have a capacity to take a judgment on any issue. So, for example, if I needed my car broke down in London, and I don't know anyone here in the automotive sector, what do I do with my car? Well, I've taken the insurance coverage by having AA membership or RAC membership, But what I'm more likely to do is to turn to friends in London and say, my car's broken down, what's your advice? And they will say, well, we use Charlie in Shoreditch and he's very good. And that recommendation that Charlie can do the work is way more important than any content he's ever produced.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. However, there's an interesting one, which is sometimes if you have to achieve a minimum in everything. And it's an interesting one on LinkedIn. So someone sent me a message on LinkedIn, and the individual doesn't have their headshot on their profile. And it sounds like a minor thing, but my immediate reaction is, oh, that's not a real person, or that's not an AI, or there's something uncomfortable about this. And remember, any interaction with your client or prospect, the one thing you cannot do is make someone feel uncomfortable, to make someone feel, oh, you've just said, dear Russell, we know you are a finance professional. Well, I'm not a finance professional, so that's probably just destroyed everything else. And I see it a lot in connection requests on LinkedIn. If someone sends me a connection request with no words in it, I look at their profile. If they send a connection request with words on it, it says something like, I like your profile and want to connect. And I go, well, that feels a bit strange. So you've got all that work in to get your profile correct, and then you've just sent two sentences to me, which didn't resonate with me. And then it kind of breaks that conflict, that ability to create trust. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Trust is the core to business.
Yes.
What we want to do is to work with people we trust, and getting to trust. So you go to the networking event, you maybe meet someone, you have a first conversation. I met several people last night at the PB Link event, and then it's what happens next. Maybe a nice message from them to say it was good to meet. Maybe we could set up a call now. Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do that. That's how we sell. And I urge everyone to get out from behind the keyboard and get along and meet people and interact. It's not only a great way to make contacts, but it's also a way to feel the market, to see what's happening. I heard last night, for example, that some people are a bit concerned about the economy. Other people are seeing the opportunity. So is there some sectors doing well, some sectors doing less well? Well, that information may allow me to work better with my clients.
And this is the only place that you can do is actually to going out and planning your activities, your engagement with the network. So final thought, we are here in London, and obviously we love the Shoreditch area, massively changed over the time. It's more area for startups, modern buildings, skyscrapers around. Go-to-market strategy. Imagine the business who is my listeners, and they might have an interesting service, interesting product. We are all thinking about developing the business, and their only way to develop the business to be more to have something new on the market. And I'm sure most of our listeners are working on something new or improve things that they're already doing. So the go-to-market strategy applies for most of us, isn't it? So the question is, in all of the world of online and building relationship, now go-to-market strategy, what is the play? How we can approach this? What we should avoid doing? What do you see in the market, Russell?
The biggest failing with a go-to-market strategy I see today is someone starts by asking their first question is, what technology should they use? And that's not where to start. Where you begin with is an appreciation of the market. So say I'm working with a farm in Scotland, and we do beautiful strawberries, and we say, right, we want to sell these strawberries. The immediate assumption might be, well, we'll sell the strawberries locally. But it might actually be that if you did some market research, you go, well, my strawberries can sell for £1 a punnet in Scotland. But actually, I've done some research and I've discovered that strawberries sell for £5 a punnet in London. So maybe, even considering the transportation costs, maybe that's a market to explore. And the way to explore that market is to speak to people. So in organisations like PB Link or Scottish Business Network, there's people there that if you ask them for advice, they'll tell you. And that's where the value is, because once you've actually understood the market, then you can start moving forward. I've just had a great example of this I got a telephone call earlier, and a friend has just relocated from the US to France, and he was going to deliver the same services he did in France, and he's just discovered his visa doesn't cover him doing that, right? Now, you're left thinking, maybe a bit of research at the start might have helped with that, or maybe we do desk-based research and then we interpret what we find. Whereas to me, to phone a couple of chums in the country first and say, I'm thinking of doing this, and get their feedback. That's where the values. Use your network to help you. We love helping each other. Ask, and I'm sure they'll deliver for you.
And third-party validation, ask for people for help. Thank you very much. Russell, I think we need to wrap it up and go find out our way to King's Cross.
Excellent.
Where we head home for a lovely weekend in, hopefully, sunnier Scotland. Everyone, thank you very much for listening up. Please share this podcast, comment, please invite more people to get a bit of ideas how best to be human, automate what you can automate, and grow your business. Russell,
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Every success to everyone.
Let's build a business based on H to H, not B2B, but human to human sales and marketing automation. A human approach is the only one that sells.